fear of change and being out of control were two of the biggest worries that have remained with me over the years. My teenage years and the severity of Rupert's injury completely shifted my perspective on life, and although I had to grow up quickly, I hadn't caught up emotionally. I didn't feel like my worries were big enough in comparison to the daily challenges Rupert was facing, and I didn't want to add to my parents' concerns. In hindsight, I should have had counselling, but it wasn't offered to me, and things like that just weren't as accessible then. All the while, I was continuing to live with anxiety, although I still didn't know it had a name. It was just my normal. In my 20s, my anxiety became so bad that I was unable to spend any time alone, living in a heightened state of fear 24/7. I was going through what should have been one of the most exciting times in my life when Escala, the electric string quartet I was a member of, reached the final of Britain's Got Talent, before signing a record deal and performing all over the world. I tried all sorts of treatments, some of which helped ease my anxiety, which by then had been diagnosed and given a name. But I still felt there was more I needed to do to help me understand my anxiety, and, as it seemed to be a huge part of who I was, perhaps even attempt to become friends with it. This was when I came across mindfulness after Google kindly pointed me in the direction of Jon Kabat-Zinn, creator of the Centre for Mindfulness in Medicine, Healthcare and Society at the University of Massachusetts Medical School. But what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is simply noticing what is happening in this moment without trying to change anything. It is about accepting and acknowledging our thoughts, then letting them pass with an understanding that nothing stays the same. The revelation that you could be taught to live in the present was a light bulb moment for me. And as I started to practice this theory daily, the more everything started to make sense. I have learned to notice and pay attention to my thoughts without judging them, and I continue to learn to let thoughts go before beginning to believe in them. I have been able to access a sense of calm even in my most challenging moments, and to remind myself to have an awareness of whether fear is determining my decisions. I have learned how important it is to take time to breathe, and I have begun to understand that the mind isn't meant to sit still. In fact, if we allow ourselves to simply sit with our mind without external distractions, our most creative thoughts often come to us. There always seems to be something we believe is more important to be doing or responding to, but giving ourselves the opportunity to listen to our chatty mind gives us the space to find some answers and be inspired by new ideas. Over the years, I've turned to mindfulness many times, usually during periods of uncertainty and change. It has been the most powerful tool I have used, not only for managing mental health, but also during difficult times emotionally, such as during our fertility struggles, and more recently for the challenges motherhood brings. When Kit was 8 weeks old, he had a cold and a fever, and over the following 2 days his symptoms got worse and he developed a nasty cough. Instinctively, I knew something wasn't right, so I took him to the doctors, where he was diagnosed with bronchiolitis. I was told to keep an eye on him, but within minutes of getting home, Kit began really struggling for breath. It was the most frightening experience, especially as I was alone with both children and Harry was out of contact in media interviews. We sadly don't have any family that live close by, so I felt I had no other option than to phone for an ambulance. Within moments, the paramedics were at my front door. Kit had been really sick, so I had stripped him down to his nappy. I was not able to think clearly at all and was in a complete state of panic, not able to function. While one paramedic was examining Kit, the other calmly directed me to pack a bag with clothes and nappies, milk and bottles, a snack for Lola, my phone charger, house keys, and a blanket to wrap round Kit. The ambulance then arrived, and with Lola strapped into a seat in the back with us, Kit was linked up to